What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you wanna bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports show. We've got a big-time show today. We had a lot happen over the weekend that we're excited to talk about. Papa Dude, how was the weekend? A rare OU home game where I didn't see you this weekend.
Yeah, I did not go. I was really disappointed with the games, though. You know, there were some highly anticipated games, and the big three really thought Cincinnati and SMU would be competitive, and Cincinnati took it out on them. Then Ohio State whipped up on Michigan State, and then the other one was Oregon, Utah, all three blowouts. And then the big one yesterday, you know, Kansas City and Dallas was a snooze fest. So games didn't really turn out this weekend like we thought, but I was still up till about 11:30 watching Saturday night.
Yeah, it was hard to find a competitive game all week, especially one that really meant a lot, I should say. Game I was at definitely was a competitive game. But overall, yeah, not a lot of competitive games this week. And that's just kind of how it went, you know. But we will kind of go over them all and kind of talk about what we think is going to happen with the college football playoff and stuff like that. And let's just go into the college football playoff talk real quick before we go to the scoreboard. I think Cincinnati gets the break they needed. They really, really needed Oregon to lose. Not only did they lose, they lost big. We'll get into that game in a minute. But now it just feels like Cincinnati is going to be up there in that number 4 spot. The way I see it, I think it'll be Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Cincinnati in the top 4 this week. What do you think they're going to do with the polls?
Well, I would totally agree with you. And if Cincinnati's not in there now, I don't think they're going to be in there. You know, how can you keep them out? Mm-hmm. There's just no excuse. So I agree with you. I think the key to look for tomorrow night is what they do with Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. I think that's something to look for. I would think they would be 5-6. I don't see anybody else you could put in there. And if they put Notre Dame ahead of Oklahoma State at this point, they think that Notre Dame's played a better schedule, I guess, and looking at the schedule, I don't really see it. But anyway, I think, though, that's the key thing to look for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the big key to look for long-term and something that these other teams that are kind of on the bubble, like a Cincinnati, like a OU, OSU, whoever comes out of that, and Notre Dame for that matter as well.
Right.
The Georgia-Alabama game, you really want Georgia to win if you're in that bubble situation. Because if Alabama was to beat Georgia, it really is going to screw things up for teams trying to get in. I agree. I think Cincinnati's got it. I think there's no doubt if they go 12-0, they're going to be 13-0. They're gonna make it. I really do. And I think it's the game against Houston coming up in a couple of weeks that's going to determine everything for them. So we'll see there. Ohio State looks like they obviously control their own destiny as well as Michigan. So the winner of that one, as long as they go and beat Wisconsin, going to be a pretty good chance that they're going to get in as well. So things kind of worked themselves out a little bit this week in that regard, as far as Cincinnati going to go undefeated and be left out situation there. I'll ask you this before we move on. OU, I think they still control their own destiny somewhat because of the name on the jersey and logo on the helmet. What about Oklahoma State? If they could beat OU and then win the Big 12 championship game, do you think they'll get in?
They should, in my opinion. The other game we're leaving out, the other biggie that Cincinnati had to have, maybe you mentioned it, is Oregon got beat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it eliminates that whole mess, which we knew they weren't any good. That was just a total joke from the committee, and everybody knew it but them. Back to Oklahoma State. They really need this to happen to solidify their spot. They need to play Oklahoma twice.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to happen because if Baylor beats Texas Tech and Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, then they're going to play Baylor for the Big 12 championship. instead of Oklahoma. And they really need that Oklahoma name twice. That's what they need. I think what's going to happen if it all plays out the way we think. And again, this is all garbage if Alabama beats Georgia, but I don't see that happening. But anyway, I think because of Notre Dame's schedule, when you look at Notre Dame's schedule, and I did about 5 minutes ago, their best wins against Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's turned out to be pretty good. You know, if they win this weekend, they're going to be 9-3. They rolled them pretty good, but that's the only team on their schedule. I think the next best one's Purdue. And that's, their schedule just didn't turn out the way everybody thought it was going to be. It wasn't very tough. USC was awful. North Carolina wasn't any good. So Florida State wasn't very good. So they didn't get those big wins like they usually do. Oklahoma State will have beaten Baylor. They will have beaten Oklahoma. And they're going to have to beat Baylor again. And those are all real good teams. And I think a one-loss Big 12 school is going to pass Notre Dame. And here's where not having a championship game for Notre Dame is going to hurt them.
You would certainly think so, but if it comes down to that logo test between Notre Dame and Oklahoma State, I am not confident that they will take Oklahoma State over Notre Dame. So.
I would be worried about it too if I was Oklahoma State. And believe me, I'm not an Oklahoma State fan, but they believe they belong. If they do, that they go ahead and run it out. They're pretty dadgum good.
Yeah.
And here's another thing: the media is not really playing Notre Dame up much. I'm not hearing much.
No.
And I think that's a sign that their schedule is going to get the best of them.
Yeah,
because Stanford this week, what good is that going to do them? I mean, Stanford is pitiful. So I think this way their schedule has played out down the stretch, they have not had a big game. And that hurts you late in the season when you don't win a big game because everybody's got a short memory.
That's right.
And it's those big wins at the end of the season that pile you up style points.
And that's the thing about Oklahoma, why unbelievably they still have a shot, because they would have to beat Oklahoma State in back-to-back weeks. And those two, back-to-back wins over them would kind of overshadow a loss earlier to Baylor. Now, the likelihood of that happening for OU is very slim, but they still have a shot because their schedule is backloaded there at the end.
Right.
So
they have a shot. Being an Oklahoma fan like we are, I don't want to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in just a second here as we go to the scoreboard for college football this week. And a couple games were Friday that we talked about on the Thursday show. That was pretty important games. San Diego State gets the job done 28-20 over UNLV. We talked about, though, UNLV, I think it was 9.5, 10.5 was the line on that. And we both took UNLV.
Right. If
you pay attention, UNLV, they're now 2-9, but every game they seem to be close. San Diego State didn't have much offense.
Right.
They get the job done there. And then we talked about Houston. That was a big win for them to keep it going, get to 11-1 going into the conference championship game. Not only big for Houston to win, obviously, but big for Cincinnati that Houston gets ranked as high as possible, right?
That's right. You better believe it. And I don't know why Houston's ranked 24. That's ridiculous. They should be much higher than that.
We'll see where they get ranked this week, and then obviously the next week before the conference championship game. But I'm with you. They seem and look like a team that's in the top 15, in my opinion. And maybe they get there by that Cincinnati game.
I just think that the committee has done this to hurt Cincinnati any old way they can.
Yeah.
I mean, Houston is 10-1, and they've won 10 in a row. And I don't care who you played. You win 10 in a row, that's pretty good. They should be in the top 15.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody. It's just wrong.
A lot of those teams they beat them very easily as well.
Yes.
And you might say, well, competition's not much. I don't know about that because I don't think the Big 12 competition's that much. I don't think the ACC competition's that. I don't think that conference is that much worse than some of these other ones that we talk about.
Well, that's the thing, Aaron. Wisconsin's 8-3.
Yeah.
They play in that pitifully weak west side of the Big Ten, and they're ranked ahead of a 10-1 Houston team.
Yeah,
that's just baloney.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. A lot of disrespect there from the American Conference, and that's just how it is. But other than the SEC, I don't think there's really a conference out there that's that good. I am not sold on many of those teams from the Big Ten, even on the good side of it. So. I'm with you on that. All right, let's get in to the Saturday slate, the game I was at. I was there with a big-time Iowa State fan, so it was kind of fun to go back and forth. It made it a lot of fun that our expectations for the game were very low. We kind of had an agreement that no matter what happens, we'll both probably be disappointed with this game, and we were. OU wins at 28-21 in a defensive battle. Quick reactions here from you about this game.
I thought it was a hell of a game.
It was.
I mean, it was very entertaining.
It was an entertaining game.
It was, and two teams left it all out there. I mean, they went after each other. It was physical. And Iowa State brought it, which I knew they would. And Oklahoma was very physical in this game on defense. And I enjoyed it. I found myself, this is so funny. I was here at home by myself because Sandy won't watch games with me because she's smart. But I was here by myself. And, of course, I bet on this game.
Mm-hmm.
I never bet on Oklahoma. Never, ever, 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 ever. And I found myself down the stretch of the game just hoping Oklahoma would cover. You know, that's all I was thinking about. Just cover. And that's why I don't ever bet my team.
Yeah.
You know, the line was 3.5, and I just wanted to make sure they won by 4. That was all I cared. Had they won the game by 3, I would have been disappointed, to be honest. So I'm never betting on them again. I knew better than to do it, but that line was just too good to pass up. But I thought OU's defense played great. I'm not real I mean, their offense is shit, and that's just all there is to it. That freshman quarterback's, you know, kind of lost right now or something going on. Yeah. The one play I do want to discuss, you know what I'm going to talk about. The score was what, 21-7 when this happened, or was it 28-14?
It was 21-7.
Okay, Oklahoma had complete control of the game. Iowa State was on right around the 50, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Now, and they're getting ready to punt. Okay, if you're in punt return, what's the first thing on your freaking mind in the third quarter when it's 21-7?
No, they could fake it.
They're going to fake the punt.
Yeah.
First of all, when he kicks it, okay, you're not going to return that kick because more than likely he's going to kick it inside the 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And junior high teams are taught don't catch the damn ball inside the 10-yard line, although our idiot does it all the time, which I don't understand that either. When the ball is snapped, every one of our upfront people turn around and head towards our kick returner.
Yeah, we literally had nobody on the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped.
The guy ran at 20 yards. The punter, it was the punter.
Yep.
Who usually isn't a speed demon, goes 20 yards before anybody even touches him. And nobody in the Oklahoma media had the guts to ask Lincoln Riley what the hell happened on that play.
Yeah.
That is pitiful coaching. That's awful.
It was just embarrassing that they gave that up that easy. If you fake a punt and the guy makes a good play, that's one thing. Like if you watch the Arkansas-Alabama game that we'll talk about, Arkansas makes a field goal. And Alabama, you know, they didn't play it just real well, but Arkansas had to make a great play to get it. Where in this, it was just the punter just took it and ran straight. He got like 30 yards on it. Yeah.
I think they needed like 7. And lost in all this too, either in the second, I believe it was the second quarter, Iowa State had the ball 4th and 1 on their own 19-yard line and went for it.
Yeah.
It's not like you shouldn't have expected a fake punt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they did everything in that game because they left it all out there.
Yeah, exactly. I think, Iowa State definitely played, all out to try to win the game.
It did.
Iowa State's problem is really not different than their problems have been, even when they've gotten good, but they've lost close games. Their quarterback is just not any good. Brock Purdy is not any good. He cost Iowa State this game. He cost Iowa State the game against OU all the time, every year. Brock Purdy loses it for Iowa State. OU just dominated the line of scrimmage, and that won the game. And they got a big turnover for a touchdown late and in the first half, and that turned the game in OU's favorite. I was the same way. OU was ahead 21-14, and they were driving, and I was like, oh, don't kick a field goal, OU, score, because you're not going to cover.
Yeah.
If you don't score a touchdown.
Absolutely.
And they did, because I bet them too. I thought the 3.5 is just it's not enough. OU should beat this team. They're not that good, and they really weren't. I mean, OU passes for under 100 yards for the first time since 2014. And before that, they hadn't passed for 100 yards since 2005, under 100 yards, I should say. So,
and you and I were talking about this right before we came on. I think it's only the second time. I'm not sure, but it can't be more than 3 or 4 at the most since Bob Stoops came in 1999 that OU has failed to pass for 100 yards.
Yeah. We looked through many of the box scores where we thought they may have gotten under. There were some where they got 200-300 yards, but we thought, well, maybe. And this was the third time. Yeah. This offense for OU is it's gone backwards in a big time way. Defensively, the defensive line has finally showed up and done what we thought they could do all year. Even in the loss to Baylor, the defensive line played great. So it's what it is. OU, OSU. I mean, neither team great on offense. Both teams seemingly have a defense that's pretty darn good. So, I mean, it's going to be a much different OU OSU game this year.
Yes, sure is. I guess we'll talk about it more in our next show. But I see Jason's got Oklahoma State's 3.5 over Oklahoma.
Yep.
They should be favored by more than that, but it's the name on the front of the jerseys. Why it's not? Because
the line opened, and I use the word open loosely because I mean like right after OU won, a line came out for this, and it was OSU was -1.5.
Yeah.
So now it's 3.5. I think it'll stay like that. When you're 2-13 in the last 15 games against somebody, you're not going to be a heavy favorite unless the other team's having a big disaster. Curtis says, any chance for a live stream watch party with me and Papa Dude when OU is at a bowl? I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, here's the problem. Unless you go to the big one, we really don't care about bowl games. And that's sounding extremely arrogant, but it kind of is. We can do it.
The best one would be this weekend, honestly.
Yeah, if you really wanted to have some good yelling and screaming. Saturday night would be, if you really are into that, would be, we could probably get together and do one of those. That would be pretty funny. I
might be talked into it, Magic. You'll do some talking here. And
we could do that. Our fans are going to have to encourage us a lot.
Yeah.
We'll get into this game a lot more. Curtis, your buddy is a lot worse than I am.
Curtis says he just wants to see Papa Dude in game mode. I'm not as negative of Papa Dude in game, that's for sure. But
I don't know about that. But
let Magic moderate. It could be a lot like the Mannings. We just.
Don't get me going on that.
All right, let's move on. This is not an OU show, but
let's go.
Probably only going to have to listen to us talk about OU one more time this year.
That's
all right. Georgia takes care of Charleston Southern. Nothing to talk about there. I thought this was the game of the day that I got to watch a little bit of. Alabama wins it 42-35 over Arkansas. Boy, Arkansas was not without their chances in this game. And if they had a little defense, they could have won this one.
Yep.
Alabama, to me, is just hanging by a thread here. And I think all the signs point to them getting beat up in the Big 12 or the SEC championship game. What do you think?
I would have to agree with you. I've seen them a couple times now. Bryce Young won that game for them. He was unbelievable. Now, I'll say this. Arkansas broke some long pass plays.
Yeah.
Those are things that you can fix. Those are breakdowns in the secondary. But it's happened a couple of times to Alabama. They've got some deficiencies, and the way Georgia's playing, I don't see any way Alabama can beat them. But again, Georgia has not beat Alabama since Kirby Smart's been there.
Yeah.
Well, there is that stigma, so anything can happen. I'm not impressed with them. I thought Arkansas left it all out there and played their guts out and gave a real good account of themselves because it looked like the way the game started, it was going to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
And Homer announcers that are on CBS, that are the Alabama personal announcers, Boy, they got awfully scared down the stretch of this game.
Yeah, for sure. And
Russ is right. Russ is right. Alabama gets the calls, and the SEC is just
it's bad. It's really bad, Russ. And Arkansas gets no calls in the SEC. It's really quite incredible how they never do. Boy, you look at this, and I know it's later in the year, and things are different. But for Arkansas, maybe they grew up after that Georgia game. But when they went to play Georgia, they were not competitive. They got their ass kicked.
Oh, it could have been a lot worse too.
Oh yeah, they went to Alabama and they stood toe to toe with them.
That's right.
And yeah, you could say, well, this happened. No, Arkansas hung in the game.
They did.
They had a chance to win.
And the thing I would say about that, Aaron, is they were 4-0 when they went to Georgia and riding high, and they lost 3 straight.
Yeah.
You would think they would tank it a little bit, and I'm giving them a lot of credit for sure.
Yeah.
I just think it's a sign right there that Georgia's on another level.
Yep. I agree.
Than anyone else.
I agree. Yeah, and like that's no disrespect to Arkansas, who say 7-4. They lost the Georgia game. They were never in. The other games they had chances to win, or they could have won, or you could even say they should have won. So they've had a really good season. They're a really good barometer, I think. Nobody shut down Arkansas this year except for Georgia. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Rush says, I strangely think that ugly win was good for Bama. I would agree if that was their first ugly win they've had this year. And it's like, oh, that's the wake-up call. But they kind of have won ugly a lot. Like, look at Florida. The Florida game was a pretty ugly win. I'll even count the Tennessee game as a pretty ugly win. People that didn't watch that game and just see the score think that was a blowout. That was not. No. That was not a blowout whatsoever. So I just think Alabama's not that good, period.
Yeah, I heard Saban after the game. And I don't know what he said to the team. There's no telling. But he wasn't that angry in that press conference after the game. He was pretty calm. He really was.
Yeah.
And, you can't keep being great year after year. And they're still dang good. And I don't think anybody in the country would want to play them. But they've slipped just a little bit.
You just have to, if you've paid attention and you've watched them week after week, they are not what they have been. They're very good, but they're not what they were last year. 2 years ago, 4 years ago. They're just not. They're not quite there. They had too many guys to replace, and it just kind of feels like they're going into that SEC championship game, and it's not going to work out for them this year.
Right.
It's very similar to OU, OSU. All the signs say OSU. They're going to beat Oklahoma, and it probably shouldn't be close. Let's see if they actually can do it. It'll be the big test for them. All right. One team that we knew sucked and we're just kept being overrated every week was Oregon. And boy, we said Utah would win this game. They didn't just beat them; they beat the hell out of them, 38-7. A non-competitive game from Oregon. Utah dominates from the opening snap until the final whistle in this one.
Oh, it was just a blowout, like you say, from the get-go. Oregon was never in the game. It's one thing to lose, but to lose like that's pretty embarrassing.
Yep.
And Utah is pretty good, but they're 8-3. How good really are they?
Yeah, I mean they're on a roll. They've played pretty good since rising.
But who they beat? They're in a shit conference, and that was the whole stupid thing about this Oregon deal that So
see, to me, I would take the American Conference over the Pac-12.
It's close.
I don't think they're any good. I think you watch it week in and week out, and that they're all just kind of a bunch of marginal teams that are just kind of flailing up there. I mean, take Houston. I think they would beat almost everybody in this conference.
Oh, I do too.
So, and they're the second team in the American. You take SMU, even though they got smoked, I think they'd beat half the teams at the Pac-12.
Well, I do too. I mean, they'd beat Stanford, California, Washington, Arizona, Colorado. There's 5 right there.
Yeah. So I just don't think this is a good conference. And I think it's them in the Big 12 and the ACC. There's not anybody that's really good out of these conferences. All right, moving on. So another top 10 team that just got exposed, didn't show up, however you want to call it. This was going on during the OU game, and I thought it was like, maybe they misprinted this. 56-7, and we look up and it's like 35-0. It's like, holy hell. 56-7, Michigan State, they're totally out of it, obviously now. Ohio State, hasn't really been impressive all year. I mean, they've taken care of business. They've done a good job to get where they are. Don't get me wrong about that. But they haven't had a win like this all year. This was pretty impressive.
Exactly. 2 weeks in a row now because they blew out Purdue also.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're on a roll. I would say they might be the second best team now.
Mm-hmm.
Can they give Georgia a game? They might. I don't know. But they got to beat Michigan first, and they got to go up there. In Michigan, I don't care. Michigan State beat them. I know they did. They shouldn't have. Michigan's way better than Michigan State.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a game. I think.
And Russ says Michigan State was the fraud of frauds. It kind of felt like they were not going to be real competitive in this game coming into it, but the line was huge. So I could see why you took Michigan State. But they had close games against teams they probably shouldn't have had close games with, you know, and it all kind of caught up with them there. Cincinnati, like we mentioned, they win 48-14, just a monster win for them. That's what they needed too. You know, we talked about them and how, boy, they were struggling against teams that weren't very good, and bam, they come up and just roll SMU. What do you think? I mean, Cincinnati now, I mean, do you agree two more wins and they're in?
I think so. And it was a perfect storm for Cincinnati because Oregon looked awful and got killed. Yeah. You know, everything just broke for them. They needed to have that big game, and they did. And it was early in the day where people watched it probably. Yep. And, yeah, I kind of thought they might do that. I thought they've been sleepwalking, waiting for this one. We'll talk about it more when we do our next show. Don't count them in yet. They have got a monsterly tough game. I said not even a word, but anyway, a monster game against a team that's pretty damn good. And when you got to go in on the road in their situation, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not. I definitely agree with you. In that East Carolina team, they're going to play on a Friday, so that's another tricky thing. They're playing well right now.
I'll tell you, if they go through this 13-0, that is an accomplishment that, having been kind of in this situation, when you got a team that has to win week after week after week, and they do it, that's pretty damn good, especially with the pressure that's on them, knowing they simply cannot lose. They have no shot if they lose.
Yep.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And like I said, they've had close game, like a game against Tulsa where it got close and they were still able to win. And that's the difference between having a good season and a great season. So we will move on to the theme still were blowouts, and we'll do these quickly. Michigan, we thought that might be a trap game at Maryland. It wasn't. 59-18, Michigan dominates.
One thing I want to mention, Aaron, and we'll mention it more. I looked this up. I don't even know why, but how many games do you think Michigan has won against Ohio State since 2000?
2.
You've looked it up. Way to go.
No, I can remember the 2.
It's either 2 or 3.
It's 2, isn't it?
Okay. Is that not unreal?
Yeah.
They've only beaten them twice, and they used to own them. Yeah. I didn't realize they led that series by as much as they do. And when you consider they're 2-18 in the last 20 years, and they still have like a 13-game edge over Ohio State. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Two weird things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And now you talk about these rivalry games like Georgia, Alabama, OSU, OU. It seems like the team that's been struggling, it's their year. Yeah. This doesn't really seem like. I know you're kind of confident that Michigan's got a shot, but you can't really say they've got a shot like OSU does to beat OU.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
They are showing some signs of offense, though.
They have their best chance to beat them since the year Michigan. I cannot remember the year they were really, really good, and I think they may have even been a favorite and got their ass beat. But that was a few years ago. Yeah. Yeah. Cannot remember the year.
I think they were undefeated going into that game.
They were, and they got smoked. But
wasn't that Harbaugh's first year, maybe?
No, I don't think he was there yet.
Okay.
Maybe so. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, it seems like their best shot in a while. We'll move on. Notre Dame, like I said, they destroyed Georgia Tech. No surprise there, 55-0. Oklahoma State, they go on the road to play Texas Tech. It was a game where, hey, they struggled to beat Texas Tech in the past. And will they let them slip up on them? No. 23-0, a dominant win. All of a sudden, the Oklahoma State first-team defense has not allowed a touchdown in the last 4 games. How about that?
That's unreal.
Yeah, the last touchdown the first-team defense gave up was at Iowa State, which was a game they lost.
Yeah.
So
we're talking about a team that's never had a defense.
Yep.
That's been very good. I mean, last year they were better, but
yep.
Yeah, and I watched some of this. Now, Texas Tech's got a freshman quarterback that came down to earth. Who'd they beat last week? They upset somebody. It was Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he passed them silly.
Mm-hmm.
But Oklahoma State just dominates them. And that's what scares me the most about the OU game. I don't know how they're going to generate any offense against them. I just don't.
I don't either. I think it'll be interesting to see if OU threw for 87 yards against Iowa State at Norman. I don't know what's going to happen in Stillwater. If the OU defense is going to have to play even better than they played this week,
they're going to have to get a score or two. Is what they're going to have to do, I think.
Yeah, special teams.
The offense up,
Mm-hmm. One time we went to Stillwater and we didn't have a very good offense at all. Their defense wasn't as good as it is now, and we had to get a special team score. We had to have a miracle off the bench quarterback come in. We scored 2 special team touchdowns, actually. Scored a fake field goal and a punt return. That's the kind of things.
That's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
Russ here's
says,
another thing. We ain't got the coaching staff we had then either.
It's not even a close comparison to the coaching staff we had at the game I was referring to.
You know what I heard today?
What's that?
The reason we're having trouble on that fake punt is because our special teams coach is coaching at South Carolina now.
Well,
let me tell you, a junior high coach would have had the punt team ready for a fake punt.
Well, last time I checked, Oklahoma is a Division I football program and should be able to find a special teams coach.
I would think. Yeah. All right, let's go on.
I don't know who said that, but that's one of the worst things.
I heard it on one of the talk radio shows this morning.
Oh, okay. It relieves me that it was a talk radio person.
Yeah, it was.
Not a coach or something like that, because that would be very embarrassing. All right, let's move on. How about this? Clemson, they get 48 on Wake Forest. They win 48-27. Was this just a situation of, okay, Wake Forest just got out-athleted in this spot?
No doubt. Yeah. And I have put Clemson back in my top 25 because I think they deserve it. Mm-hmm. Is this Dabo Swinney's best job of coaching?
Well, he's turned around a team that looked like they might have a losing record or go, 6-6, something like that, and they're most likely going to go 9-3, could win a bowl and go 10-3.
They could still play. They could still win the ACC.
They need some things to happen, but they could. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's his best, but I think when you have a season like this and it doesn't go all the way bad for you, I think it shows that a coach's ability, right?
Yeah, and it's a guy that didn't give up on his team.
Yeah.
This is a guy that has won a ton of games. He could have easily said, piss on it, you guys suck.
Yeah.
No, they got better. And that's a sign of a great coach and a great coaching staff.
When you're at a program now like Clemson, he's built it up this way, and you lose that chance to play for championships. Right.
And you lose it early.
Yeah, that's when you really find out what a coach is made of. And we saw that with Stoops a little bit too.
All the time.
Stoops they were so good first 5 or 6 years he was there. Then they had a couple years where they dropped, and they would always do what Clemson was doing. Very rarely did OU, if ever, would just tank a season. That just doesn't happen. So, sign of a good coach. I have a feeling if OU was 6-5 this year, they would get beat by 50 next week. So,
no question.
Yeah. All right. Now, let's move on to Baylor, a team I thought would lose without any doubt here. They won 20-10 over Kansas State. Baylor now sets up, like you said, if OU loses, Baylor will be in the conference championship game as long as they beat Tech this weekend. I'll say this or ask this. No way. Does Dave Aranda, any chance he's at Baylor next year?
Well, do you think LSU wants him? He was assistant there.
I would think LSU would want him. I would think Florida would want him. I would think USC would want him.
Yeah, he's kind of how well known is he? I don't know. Does he have a big enough name for Florida or USC?
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to take an assistant? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
LSU, you'd think would be the fit because he was there.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a really good job, no question. They were like 2-7, I think, last year.
Yep.
Their defense is legit, and they're playing great. And they just shut Kansas State down, and they got better athletes than Kansas State, and it showed.
Yeah.
The guy at K-State does a hell of a job with what he's got. Here could be something. This would really be funny. I shouldn't even say this because it's going to make me look bad, but it'd be funny if Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma and then gets beat in the Big 12 championship game to Baylor.
Yeah, then everybody's out for the Big 12.
Well, who cares? If we're not in, I don't care.
Well, no.
But what, here's Oklahoma State. They finally beat OU and they got their chance to get in, and then they go down there and Baylor beats them. And Baylor could beat them.
Yeah.
Because their defense is good enough.
They played each other once, and it was a back and forth game, good defensive battle, and I think that's what it'd be again. So
now, Baylor's quarterback got hurt in this game, but I don't know how bad it is. I don't know.
It looked pretty bad. I saw it. It looked like a hamstring injury, and it looked severe, like he could barely walk. But he's not any good. And
no, he's not really.
Their other guy came in and did fine. I wouldn't really be worried about that much. Ole Miss wins. They're going to set up that big game against Mississippi State, who also won. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the Egg Bowl on Wednesday on the show. So Ole Miss trying to get to 10 wins. That's 9-2 for them as they beat Vanderbilt. BYU beat Georgia Southern. Speaking of 10 wins, BYU has one more game left to get to 10, and they're playing USC. So that probably is going to be a win. Here's Nebraska. They play close again, but they cannot get the job done. Wisconsin beats Nebraska 35-28. Has there ever been a team play so many close games and win none of them?
No, and Russ was talking about Arkansas not getting calls. Now, this is a game I watched because this was really entertaining game. This one was fun to watch because you're sitting there thinking, all right, how are they going to lose this one? And they don't get any calls either.
Yeah.
They got a horrible non-call. When they were driving to tie it, the guy mugged a receiver. Just mugged the guy.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Didn't call it. I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of time yet left. I don't know whether they could have scored or not, but I've seen that happen to them a couple of times. But with all due respects to Arkansas, this team has played the toughest schedule in the country. I don't care what anybody says. They've played every good Big Ten team, every single one of them.
I saw a comment on Twitter today. It says, when you're a bad team, your schedule always looks tough because every team is better than you. So that's kind of an interesting.
There's so many ranked teams, that they've played.
Yeah, they have.
Guess what? They play Iowa this week. They're 3-8. Iowa's 9-2, and Wisconsin or Nebraska's a 3.5-point favorite.
Nebraska's the favorite in that game?
Yes, they are.
Oh my God, we'll have a heyday with that one on Wednesday. Wow, man. Yeah, Russ says our Texas win ain't looking quite as good. Yeah, we can say the same thing, Russ. When we came back and beat Texas, we thought we'd really done something.
Yeah, we really had. Yeah.
Turns out everybody beats them. So yeah.
What are they going to do down there? I guess they have to keep him. I guess I don't know. They get what they deserve. Or they deserve what they get, but whatever it is. Get what is the word? Get what they deserve.
Yeah.
When you get old, you know these phrases, but you can't remember how to say them. They should never hire this guy.
Yeah.
They thought they had God's gift to the world in coaching. The guy didn't coach. He was terrible at USC. He was not very good at Washington. That's two places you can win, and Texas hires him just because he coached for Saban.
Well, and I think at some point, people are going to learn that the offensive coordinator looks good when he has great players.
Absolutely.
I think Russ and Isaac and Curtis and you and I could have been the offensive coordinator at Alabama last year, and we would have won the national championship. Well, look at the guys on that team that are making plays every Sunday.
Yeah, Mac Jones is leading the team that's playing the best in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he's easily the best rookie quarterback.
Najee Harris is having a great year.
Yeah, Waddle, he's fantastic at Miami. He's doing stuff with a shit quarterback.
What's that guy? The other Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I mean,
he's on the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
That's 4 studs.
Yeah, this was one of the best college offenses ever, and it didn't have dick to do with Sarkisian. He was just happened to be the offensive coordinator.
He was only there 1 year, wasn't he? Or was it?
I think maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
I don't know that for sure. And Lincoln Riley, he's supposed to be a quarterback whiz. Well, when the quarterback didn't find the open guys, all of a sudden Lincoln Riley's terrible. Why is he calling these plays? It's like, what do you think the difference is between when he's scoring 50 a game?
All they're talking about now is Lincoln Riley's in a slump. He's in a slump. He doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, the players make the plays. Yep. I mean, it's unbelievable. But yeah, Texas sucks.
Yeah.
Who doesn't suck is A&M. They win 52-3 over Purdue. A&M. How about this? We talked about Iowa, Illinois. This will be a 6-3 tie. 33-23. Another one I was like, no, they got to have that score wrong. 33-23. I didn't watch any of this one, but how did Iowa get 33 points?
Well, they had to pull it all out because Illinois scored 10 right off the bat.
Yeah.
They had them 10-0, so they had to go to their auxiliary offense. They had to throw it a little bit. And then Illinois decided to give them some points. And that last score came real late.
Okay.
And there's a 100-yard kickoff return for Iowa's first touchdown, too. So typical Hawkeye win.
Yeah.
And would you bet a nickel on them in Nebraska this weekend? I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But I don't know if I'm getting 3.5 points. I probably would actually.
I don't know.
I think it'll be a Hawkeye type game, and if you're giving me 3.5 points in Iowa, I think I would take Iowa. And listen, they're 1 win away from a 10-2 season.
They are, and here we are making fun of them.
Yeah, and I don't think they're any good at all. So
and if there's some way they get in that Big Ten championship game, they will get killed.
Oh, it'll be bad. Yeah. Curtis said hammer Iowa under next week because they scored 33. How could they get any points?
Well, it was a weak 33. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. If Illinois gave them some points there, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Iowa, Nebraska. That's and I think that's on Friday, so that'll be.
It is. Yeah.
That'll be a fun. It always is a really good game.
It is. It's a big rivalry.
Yeah.
Big rivalry.
Yeah. It usually is entertaining.
It is.
Pittsburgh beats Virginia 48-38 as they try to win the ACC. Nice win for Pittsburgh there. Yep. North Carolina State, another team trying to get into that ACC championship game. They win 41-17 over the Fighting Ricky Pasternaks. And then UAB, Texas San Antonio. So Texas San Antonio is clinging to that undefeated record. They're trying to stay undefeated. It's 30. What was it? 31-28.
Yep, 27.
Oh, sorry, 31-27. Last play of the game, Texas San Antonio touchdown. They stay undefeated and win. This was a hell of a finish.
It was. And they got the ball back with like a minute.
Yep.
No timeouts. And with I don't know, they went about 75 yards, I think. They got a big pass play and won. And that was huge. And then they go, you know what? They got a tough game this week. They got to go up to North Texas.
Yeah.
And they're on a roll. They've won like 5 in a row.
Yep.
So they're kind of in the same situation, sort of, as Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. They got a lot of pressure on them to finish undefeated. And it's a tough game. And then they're going to have to, I can't remember who the other, Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they barely beat them the first time. They would have to beat them in the, whatever that is, Conference USA championship game.
Yeah.
I'm rooting my ass off for it. I think it'd be cool if they went 13-0. That's pretty good.
I would love it for it to happen, but I feel like the bubble is about to burst on this team.
They may get it this week. And I tell you what, Western Kentucky's playing great. So,
yeah, I think if they don't get it this week, Western Kentucky will get them in the championship.
One thing is, Aaron, they're not in yet. They have to beat Marshall.
Well,
and that's who they play at Marshall, I believe.
Okay, well, maybe they won't get in there, but if they do, or even if it's Marshall, I don't. I just think this team's begging to get beat by somebody.
Well,
a clutch win.
They've been a Division I program. What, 5-6 years?
Yeah, I looked that up. I think longer than you think. I think
Really?
2011 was actually their first year. So it's been but it feels like it hadn't been very long. So yeah, it's a great story.
It is.
I thought UAB would beat them. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, that's not gonna happen. You're the Hilltoppers, Magic says. So
yeah, that's that Western Kentucky bunch.
Yep. All right, final game, and we won't talk about it much, but Mississippi State 55, Tennessee State 10. Like I said, sets up the Egg Bowl this weekend. Going to be a hell of a game on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
Let's move to the NFL. Let's move to the game.
How many people can tell me who Mississippi State's quarterback is?
I can tell you, but I will.
Well, I know you can. You're supposed to know this stuff.
Comment in the chat who Mississippi State's quarterback.
Don't look it up. That's cheating.
Yeah, and if you cannot think of it, I will give you a hint, but I will not give any hints until we give our people some time as they're Googling it, I'm sure.
They're going to cheat.
I know. Yeah. You can't, but especially Magic. He'll cheat to get to win.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'll keep an eye on that, and we'll move to the Monday Night Football game between the Giants and the Buccaneers. It's an 11-point favorite here for Tampa Bay. All of a sudden, they haven't looked great the last couple of weeks. They need a win. The Giants, I don't know. I don't know if they can make this competitive. Like I said, 11 points in NFL is a lot. Where are you leaning right now for this one?
After the NFL games, you're going to bet a double-digit line? Tampa was kind of getting pushed by New Orleans there for a while, but then the Saints have decided to tank it. So suddenly Tampa doesn't have that pressure that was on them after New Orleans beat them. So they've had a couple of weeks. The coach came out against them pretty hard after they lost up at Washington. If I was ever going to bet a double-digit line, I would this one. They ought to smoke them tonight, I would think. But I don't know.
I would take – I'm not betting the Giants. I'm taking Tampa here. The Giants are not any good. And I think Tampa – if it's a situation where Tampa's like 8-1, maybe they sleepwalk through this. But I think they come out and play a very focused game here. I'm going to take Tampa Bay minus the 11. Do you have the team Russ is asking about the team totals here.
Oh, I do, Russ. If I can find my trusted paper. I might have thrown that away. That was last week's garbage. Well, actually, it's not. But
I'm thinking it'd be 30 and a half.
I think it was 30 and a half, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm doing the quick math, I think it's 30 and a half. And I would go over that, Russ. I think that makes a lot of sense. I just think they're going to score a lot of points. This is not a very good defense. This is not a very good team in New York, and I think Tampa scores a lot.
There is something to look for tonight, too. Brady's thrown 4 interceptions in the last 2 games.
Yep.
Let's see. If he does that again, do we have a problem? Does anyone know if Gronkowski's going to play?
Let's see.
He has struggled since he got hurt.
Look at the injury report. Rob Gronkowski, he is questionable. So we will see. Vita VA is doubtful.
By the way, I don't care for his commercials.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Gronk is in, Russ and Matt saying Gronk is in.
All right.
Gronk has the worst commercial I've ever seen an athlete have. And he usually is really good on commercial. He is awful on that. I can't think what it is.
It's some kind of military thing.
Yeah, like it's a military insurance maybe or something. I
Does anybody besides me think that's a little bit, what's the word?
Awkward?
Very good taste. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's really weird. He's like,
I would have never done that. I mean, I'm
like,
a military
have
guy.
You served or a family member, sir? And they're like, no. And he's like, but I'm special.
Yeah, I think that's awful.
I think it's really awkward. Like, I feel awkward. Even Heather was sitting by me and we were watching. I don't even know what we were watching. I came on. He's like, that is the weirdest commercial.
I think so too.
Oh, it's USA.
I can't stand Aaron Rodgers, but some of his commercials are kind of funny.
Yeah, I know. I know. Like Tom Brady sometimes has a funny one here or there. Deion Sanders and Nick Saban
those are good. Yeah,
they're funny.
When he
Gronk
makes fun
one
of
is
that blue suit that Saban's got on, it's pretty good.
the Gronk one just
Yeah, it's you're right. You hit the right word. It's awkward.
kind of
I
makes
would
me
never
like,
have done that because that makes you look like you think you're better than anyone else.
yeah, that's how I
I
take it.
guess it's the whole point of it, but still.
It's like cringeworthy watching that.
Yeah.
By the way, no answers for who the Mississippi State quarterback is. So here's my hint.
I don't think this will get it, but anyway, try it.
He has the same name as a racetrack. He has the same name
and a turnpike.
As a racetrack, a turnpike, and an airport.
And he had a very, very, see you later, Isaac.
See you, Isaac.
A very, very famous quote.
Okay.
He never met a man he didn't like.
There you go.
And he's from Oklahoma.
Yes,
not the quarterback, but the name.
Yes, no.
Sam Houston, very good. That's good, man.
Magic. No, it's not Sam Houston.
That would be Texas. Magic. Texas.
Sam Houston is yes. Okay. Yeah.
Houston, Texas.
A turnpike, a racetrack, an airport, and
that's right. Yeah.
And
a legend in Oklahoma.
A legend in Oklahoma, not the quarterback, but
a long time ago.
Yes. Yes. So there we go. All right. Let's move on to the Thursday night game. This was awesome. Patriots 25. There you go. Will Rogers. Russ.
Yeah, but he cheated.
He said, I knew it because I watched him for 3 hours 2 weeks ago. Was just going to let somebody else try.
That's good, Russ. I like that. That's
second
good.
in passing this year in D1.
Yeah.
Magic says, don't let John Lees know that he got that wrong. So, yes, Will Rogers, the name of the Mississippi State quarterback, is
390 yards a game he's passing for.
How much?
390 yards, 35 touchdowns, and I don't hear his name mentioned for the Heisman.
No, because the Heisman, you have to be like one of the top teams to get it anymore. It's ridiculous. Exactly. So, yeah. Mark chimes in. It sure as hell ain't Fairmont Jones.
Oh, maybe we need to do a trivia show. I think that would be a really fun thing.
I definitely think we should. But yes, Will Rogers, the name of, and listen, 390 yards, that's longer than most quarter horse races at Will Rogers. So that's all right. Let's go to this Thursday game. I'm trying to get to it, but the comment's too funny there. So, how about this? New England wins, dominates, and now in first place in the division because the Bills lost to the Colts. You see that game under the 41-15. We'll talk about them both kind of together, I guess. New England, man, we talked about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. It's like this team might win the division. And now we're sitting here. They're number one in the division, and they're playing way better than the Bills right now.
No doubt. And they got them twice.
Yep.
In the last 5 weeks. And here's another thing. They got Tennessee this week at New England. They got them at the right time, I think. I think Tennessee's struggling. I just knew they were going to.
Yeah.
We'll get to them in a minute. They got a golden opportunity to beat them. And if they can split with the Bills, I think they win the division. I really do.
Yep. I think New England has a shot, believe it or not, at the number one seed. I really do. I think them and Kansas City might be the favorites for the number one seed in the AFC.
They might.
It's unbelievable. We'll move on to another team that has a shot, I guess, at the first seed in the AFC. The Ravens win again. They go to Chicago. They win 16-13. Now, let's stop, though, and say, hey, they didn't have Lamar. They didn't have Hollywood Brown. So any win was a good win there for the Ravens. But it just every week, it's very close if they're going to win or lose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anybody – yeah, they're 7-3. How can you argue with that? But my God.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone have any information on Lamar? Because this illness seems to be kind of secretive.
I don't know what was happening right up until they said it was like fluid in his lungs or something.
Yeah, and they seem like they're worried about it. Like it's something kind of serious.
I agree. And I haven't heard anything today on it. I followed it yesterday from a fantasy football purpose. I was like, wow, what happened to him? Because all of a sudden he was just out. I think think it was like Sunday morning they announced this. So
He was on the team plane, wasn't he? Didn't
yeah, that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something to keep an eye on. They certainly, I mean, you can say what you want about Lamar, but Huntley is not going to take the Ravens deep into the playoffs. They need to get him back. So, moving on, same division, the Browns, they win sort of 13-10 over the Lions. It was one of the worst games I've ever. This game was just off. The Browns played the only team they could beat.
Yeah.
And that was the Lions. Browns are now 6-5. To me, they have like a 2% chance. They're just awful right now.
Yeah, it's something's wrong. I don't know what. They don't have any identity on offense. It's like I just don't know.
Yeah.
If Mayfield is hurt, a lot worse. And if he is, then he needs to sit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not doing himself any good.
He's not at this point. He's not doing the team any good.
No, if he's hurt, and he's got 3 or 4 things wrong with him.
Yeah,
wasn't playing real good anyway. But it's he started playing bad when he first got hurt. So I don't know. I see where yesterday he didn't do the press conference like he always does.
Yeah,
he didn't do a press conference yesterday. I don't know what that means, but yeah, that was a terrible game. But I got the Browns right. 28.5. I went under on that. So again,
yeah, and you never had to worry about that for a second of the game. Magic says Booker Mayfield. Let me ask you this: do you think Mayfield will be in Cleveland next year?
Well, we're gonna if they think he's not playing well because he's hurt. Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah,
I do. I think they love him. They love his competitiveness and his fire and all that. A lot's going to depend on what happens the rest of the year, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's hard to say. It's going to be a really interesting decision because, he came in first year, played great. This was a team that hadn't won a game. They won 7. They went 7-8-1. Everybody was excited. His next year was just not very good. They were horrible. They did not meet expectations. He was bad. Year 3, he was really good. They were really good. Now we're here, and it's like a mix of year 2 and 3. Like at times they look decent, and at times they look like he did year 2. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting offseason for the Browns.
They've had a ton of injuries, and they've had a lot of problems.
Yeah,
distractions and everything else. They play in a good division.
Yeah,
they lost a couple of games they could have won, but they're not. I don't think they're going to have a winning season. I just don't see how.
It doesn't look like it.
They got to play Baltimore twice.
Yeah.
Once this week.
Yeah.
Now maybe this is the right time to get them if Lamar can't play.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know that they can beat anybody other than the Lions. So we'll see. All right. Let's move on. The Houston Texans went on the road. Hey, Tyrod's back, and the Texans win 22-13 over the number 1 seeded in the AFC, the Tennessee Titans. They got way up on them. They hold on to win. Wow, this was unbelievable, right?
I couldn't believe it when I saw the score. I was kind of busy yesterday between like noon and 2, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't turn on the games till 2:00, and I saw that score was, I think, 19-3. When I said, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, it just shows you when you're not ready to play. It was 19-6. That's what it was. When you're not ready to play, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
And they weren't ready to play. And I guess we should have seen it coming. They had 2 big games against good teams, and they won them, and they just let up.
Yep.
Houston came in there and kicked their butts. There's not a lot of difference in the talent.
No, in the NFL, every team's pretty similar. Tannehill just had a horrific day as well. A lot of interceptions hurt them. Yeah, I mean, it's a game they overlooked. There's no doubt about it, and they weren't good enough to overlook a team and win. So it's just kind of the Titans have just had some bad losses to bad teams. They lost to the Jets too. And like Russ says, he wasn't really that surprised. The Titans always do that. There is evidence that is 100% true. So
yeah, weird.
Yeah, this game was incredible. This was the game.
This was a good game. Yeah.
The Vikings beat the Packers 34-31. It's 31-31. Kirk Cousins throws an interception, and everybody goes, well, there you go. That's Kirk Cousins for you. But was ruled not to be a catch. Green Bay drops it, and then the Vikings drive down and get the field goal. This is a huge win. Are the Vikings are they back in the race for this division, or does Green Bay still own this?
Well, they still got a significant lead on them. And Minnesota's schedule is tough. They've just got it. I think they still got to play the Rams. They still got some tough games left. I think the Vikings got a shot at the wild card, though. I don't think they can catch the Packers.
Yeah.
Unless Green Bay kind of, tanks it.
Yeah.
Which they're not going to.
Well, I think the Vikings screwed themselves by losing so many of these close games, So I don't think they're going to be able to get it done either. But
this was a good one for them, though.
Yeah, and they're back in the wild card chase for sure after this.
Well, they took that lead. I think it was 31-27, and scored way too quick.
Yeah,
and then Green Bay scored on the very first play after they got the ball back.
Yeah, it's 31-24. Yeah, and then
okay. They could have tanked it right there, and they didn't. So.
Yeah, they didn't. They held in there. So it turns out Green Bay scored too quick. So pretty incredible how that one worked out. All right, we'll move on to the Dolphins. They're now 4-7. I told you these Dolphins were going to be good. They win 24-17. It was ugly, but they do beat the Jets.
Hey, I was looking at their schedule too.
It's awful. They've got a shot.
They can go on a roll. Yeah,
I know. They still might have a winning season.
Heck, they might make that. Let me look at it real quick. Let's see here. We've got Carolina at Miami.
Yeah, I should win.
They got to win. They can win that.
Yep.
They got the Giants at Miami.
They should win.
They got the Jets at Miami. They got 3 straight home games.
Yep.
You win those 3, they're 7-7. Then comes the Big East. They got to go to New Orleans. Who knows what New Orleans is going to be by then? They got to go to Tennessee. That's a bad one.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they got New England. Well, shoot, I was excited there for a while.
Well, I think they could at least get to where they aren't embarrassed with their season.
Well, they're doing that.
Yeah. So but there's a long ways to go. That's what happens when you start off 1-7. But
it's kind of tough to get out of that.
Yeah, they aren't the laughing stock of the NFL. That's good. Hey, how about another team that we thought would be a laughing stock? The Eagles win again, 40-29. They're now 5-6. They just kicked the Saints.
That was the other score. When I turned it on, I looked at that and I said, that can't be.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought the Saints would get it together and beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
I would have bet the Saints for sure if I was going to bet on that game. The Eagles are just playing really well.
Yep.
And I looked at their schedule. They're the ones because they get in that division now. And I don't think that. Have they played the Giants?
Well, read off their schedule. You're the one that's got the book there.
I was looking at this today. Kind of an Eagles fan. They got the Giants this week at New York, and they got the Jets. Then they got Washington.
Yep.
The Giants again, and Washington again. There's 5 games they could win.
They certainly can.
They could go 10-6 going into Dallas there. If they're 10-7, I think they make the playoffs.
They'll have a good shot. They'll be right there with a chance. Now,
would that not be amazing?
Sometimes when you're a team like the Eagles, you would count those wins and they lose somewhere, but they are going to be competitive. They're going to have a chance.
Say 8-9 will be their finals.
Yeah. Russ says Hurts is a tough dude. Wish he could go downfield just a little more. Yeah, that's just not. He doesn't throw the deep ball very well. He didn't really throw it well in college either. So that's just not what he can do, And that's
one tough son of a gun, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I agree. Or I was saying the same thing, Mark. Is Papa Dude reading the newspaper? Do these kids these days even know what a newspaper is? What are you reading that you get these schedules out of?
I've got a big college football or college and pro football manual here. Book.
Yeah, it's a manual, Mark. Come on. Don't you know what a manual is?
I bought it. You ever heard of a bookstore?
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to make a prediction. then in about 20 years, somebody will be reading for the next generation. They won't even know how to read.
Yeah.
They won't have to.
Could be a reader as a job that you could hire out, perhaps. Yes.
No, it'll be on a computer. That just reads it for you.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
possible. All right. Washington goes on the road and beats the Panthers 27-21.
Another one.
Cam's back.
Makes no sense. Yeah, he's back.
That's the thing, people. The media hype is crazy.
It's like ridiculous.
He ran 2 plays, and now he comes back, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Carolina, they're back." It's like, do you guys remember? Like, he wasn't any good in the last 4 or 5 years. And
it seems to me like they ran him off, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Mark, here you go. He said, Bill Still is my college football phone a friend for sure.
Yeah.
Mark.
That's what we got. Only I don't have him because I don't understand all the abbreviations.
Look, I don't know if you could see every week when it's over, I write down the scores.
So do I.
Because I write them down so I don't have to have any reference when I'm doing the show. Because if I write something down, I generally remember it. So
a pen or a pencil is still a very good utensil that people need. And that's why we are so knowledgeable.
Yeah, yes. It's why I can rattle off who won and lost these games without looking it up, because I write it down in this book.
Yeah, and college basketball season's coming, and we'll get into that as soon as this football settles down a little bit. I can't find a magazine that's got the damn schedules in there, so I'm screwed.
And I'll say this, I will not be able to rattle off college basketball scores because I'm not writing them down in a book. So
I would if I could find the schedule.
Yeah. Well, surely there's one out of there.
But you have a lot more things to do than I do.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right, let's move on. The 49ers beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 30-10. Nothing to talk about there. The Raiders officially stick a fork in them, I think. They get blown out at home against the Bengals 32-13. Bengals are now 6-4. They're back in it. They're still the Bengals, but they're also in a division with the Browns, who aren't any good, and the Steelers, who aren't any good. Can the Bengals win the division? Are they back in it? Do you think they can do it?
Yeah, they have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to prove they can beat Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I mean, that's, they've got to beat them to do it. I think they'll beat Cleveland if they play them again. Is there any truth to the rumor that John Gruden said if the Raiders would apologize, he'd come back?
Sure. I think you just made that up, but yeah, I think it's true.
I did make that up, but I think they probably are sitting there going, why'd we fire that guy? Gosh, we were flying high when that happened.
Oh, like the media pressure is why.
Oh, yeah, they had to fire him.
Yeah, and then John Gruden suing the NFL, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, we'll move on to, like I said, this was supposed to be the game of the week, and it wasn't. It was kind of a snooze fest, really. All of a sudden, the Chiefs have a defense. Right now, I know Dallas had some injuries, and that really hurt. I mean, Lamb is out.
Cooper,
can't think of the guy's name. Yeah, he's out. It wasn't good, but the Chiefs took the job done, 19-9. Their offense didn't look very good here, but they get it done. The Chiefs now, obviously, big time favorites to win the division. Can the Chiefs get up and be like the top team in the AFC?
The Chiefs, didn't you think there early in the game they were going to score 35 points?
They were
just rolling up and down the field, and then it just shut off. I thought this was going to be a blowout, and their offense is still struggling, and so is Patrick Mahomes, and Dallas was just inept with. But you know what though, the Chiefs ate their offensive line up. Dak didn't have time to do anything yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
It was really bad. I'm with Dennis. This Chiefs team is just way different from what they've been.
But you know what? If they keep playing defense like that, they're not going to lose another game, I don't think.
Andy Reid is another guy. He's just a really good coach.
He is.
And I don't think he really ever gets the credit for this, but they're just winning in a different way, but they're winning. And I don't think I'm with you. I don't think they're back, Dennis. I I mean, they're not impressive, but they're winning again, and they're going to win the division, and they just look better. So,
I think they got one more game they could lose. The Chargers might beat them. It depends on if the Chargers have to win that game to get in a playoff situations.
Yeah.
They're going to beat Denver. They still got to play them twice. They got Vegas and Kansas City. Pittsburgh's not going to beat them in Kansas City. Cincinnati, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they're going to end up 13-4. I do, unless they slip up and lose when they're somewhere.
Even 12-5 will win the division. So, and Mark says, my apologies if you have Mahomes in your fantasy football this year. The Chiefs will still dominate this mediocre division. Are we really going to bank on San Diego / Los Angeles Chargers to hang with them? No, I don't think so.
Well, they blew a big lead last night.
Yeah, the Chargers did win the game at least, but they tried to lose.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and Russ is right. AFC is wide open.
Oh, it is, no doubt.
Before we get to that Chargers game, the Cardinals with Colt McCoy again. And by the way, what's going on with Murray? Because every week they say he's going to play and then he doesn't.
Right.
The good news is the Cardinals are 2-1 without him. They did win
against a
very, very bad Seahawks team.
Right. And they have a bye this week.
Maybe that's what it was.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I think, gosh, the Cardinals have survived 3 games without him, and they haven't really tanked it. You got to be feeling good about the Cardinals here, getting that number 1 seed up to 9-2 now. And Mark says, yeah, at the end of the day, Mahomes is greater than Herbert and Carr. Not this year. Carr, yes, but I think Herbert, he's right there with Mahomes this year.
Yeah.
But
the difference is Mahomes has won big games and Herbert hasn't.
I mean, this year, though?
Yeah, I know, but in the past, he has.
Well, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to talk about the past 3 years with Mahomes, there's nobody you can compare him to that's playing right now.
No.
He does not look the same this year.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I don't know what it is either.
And that's why I thought the Chargers could maybe give him a run, but I don't know. Like I said, Chargers tried to lose last night. They do win 41-37 over Pittsburgh. I mean, yeah, and Mark kind of saying what you're saying. Come January, I want the experience, and I agree. I definitely agree.
Don't you think that teams are getting much more pressure on him this year?
On Mahomes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think he's handling it quite like
I don't either.
He seems to me to have happy feet for the first time in his career.
Well, you know what? He has taken some shots.
He has. Last year was bad.
Yeah, he got the crap beat out of him last year. And I don't care who you are. You get hit enough like that, you're going to get a little jumpy.
Yeah.
And so I don't know whether that's it or not, but you're right. He is shaky in the pocket. But they're getting to him. I mean, Dallas got to him yesterday, son.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. He's, and then like this says, I think teams are starting to figure him out. And that's kind of what it's looked like all year long. But yeah, get pressure on a guy, hit a guy a lot, and that changes things for sure for a lot of them. But again, he wasn't horrible, and he hasn't. I wouldn't really say other than maybe a game or two, he's been horrible this year. He's just been like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just not what he's been. But like I said, they've got some easy games coming up and time to get things together for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Chargers, I don't consider them to be a serious threat to beat the Chiefs, but it was big that they won this game at least.
Oh, yeah. My gosh, would that have been a disaster if they didn't come back and win? I got to tell you the truth. I turned it off as 34-20, and I thought the game was over. And when I saw that score this morning, and then I read what happened, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Now, we had company at the house Sunday or last night, and I probably would have went to bed, but we were sitting there talking and just kind of, shooting the shit, and we had the game on. And we're like, we kind of ignored it, and they're like, "Holy shit, this thing's tied!"
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Pittsburgh took the lead, right?
Yeah. Pittsburgh had a great chance to win this game, and just the thing about it is Pittsburgh, they're not very good.
Mm-mm.
They're really not.
They got injuries everywhere too.
Yeah, they're just held together with super glue. They're not great. So, yeah, and Russ says, thank God the Steelers covered. It didn't look like they were going to for a long time. Then it looked like they were gonna win, and then ultimately they lose, but they do cover. So,
Well, if somebody would have told you Pittsburgh's going to score 37,
a win.
wouldn't you have bet that all day long?
I would have said Pittsburgh might win by double digits.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's really, really, really surprising. Let's put it that way, that they were able to score 37, or they were able to allow 37 being the Chargers and still win that game. So,
right.
We'll see. Chargers and Bengals kind of on that same plane of like, I think they're much, much better, but they just don't really know how to win yet. So,
yep.
All right,
fighting for a wild card. Fighting for a wild card.
Yes. Yep. Fighting for the wild card for sure. All right, Papa Dude, we are done for another week with the recap show. Do you have anything to add before we go off the air today?
No, I can't think of anything. Have we finalized what we're going to do Wednesday? We should ask our fans.
We're going to do a Wednesday show. I've got a special guest lined up for us.
You do?
I do. We're debating on a time.
Don't you think you need to tell your co-host who the special guest is?
No, it's a surprise. As far as a time, we could do our normal. We usually do Thursday at 1 Eastern, noon Central. We could just do that on Wednesday, or we could push it a little bit later.
We could do a nighttime version, couldn't we, or not? Or is this going to interfere with your special guest?
The nighttime. Oh, okay. So the special guest, I haven't talked to him. I told him 1 p.m. Eastern. So
it is a he. Okay.
Yes, I'll have to talk to him about that. Yeah, I don't know if he could do it. That might be a factor. We might do night. Although Blinker's off, probably going to have to record Wednesday as well because of the holiday Thursday.
Gotcha. So
we'll just have to see. We'll have to see.
What do you think, guys? Are any of you still on there?
No, everybody's left. No, no, there's still people here.
Is noon okay with you guys?
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Because of the blinkers off, even if it's not okay, it's what we're gonna have to do. Because I think Magic Mike will probably also record. So
okay,
we'll see. Yeah, Dennis says seems interesting. So he's interested in who the special guest might be. So
you and me both, Dennis.
But anyway, we will have a special guest. Thanksgiving extravaganza. We'll go over all the top 25 games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and all of the NFL games Thursday and Sunday. So, let's see. Russ says he's got to do a lot of work around the house before Thursday. Shaking my head. Yeah, I think I'm
thinking that's going to be a problem for everybody.
Yeah, I know. I think we might just keep it at the same time. The good news is if you can't join us live, it is in podcast version, and you can also go on YouTube and watch the show as well. So, and I know a lot of you do that. I know Russ last week missed the show, but he commented on Siri making an appearance on YouTube. So, yeah, no Siri this week. You did it.
No, I'm not touching anything. I didn't do it last time either, but
maybe that is why Papa Dude is reading the newspaper instead of trying to look up anything.
I'm not reading a newspaper. I used to take the paper though. I quit that about 2 years.
You no longer get the paper delivered to your house, right?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, I don't miss it much either.
I mean, that's good that you don't.
I have an interesting Thanksgiving story. Should I save it for Wednesday or share it now? Because I think you'll remember this.
Interesting Thanksgiving story. Let's do Wednesday because Wednesday is our Thanksgiving extravaganza. All right. So
it involves your grandfather.
Okay. Well, we will do it on Wednesday.
And I think you'll remember this. Maybe. I think you were old enough to remember it.
Oh, I can't. Off the top of my head, I cannot think.
Well, it's something that happened at the dinner table. Was something he was wearing.
Oh, you're talking about Pappy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You remember that story?
Yes.
Isn't that a classic?
It's a classic that will be told on Wednesday. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. We'll have to definitely.
Hey, Mark's got his Wyoming thing on here, and I forgot, Mark. I was going to mention that.
We will definitely have to set up that. I'm already thinking about the story. Yeah, Mark says, side note, Wyoming won at Utah State Saturday night. Cowboys were plus 5.5, he meant to write, and won 44-17. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, huge win.
Yeah,
because Utah State's good. Well, I don't know if they're good, but they got a good record. So
yeah,
big win for the Cowboys.
So Curtis says if the Lions win Thursday, he's going to shave his head.
We're going to do that game. I'm going to write an article on that game. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
Well, tell me not to, and I won't.
No, you definitely do it.
It's a Thursday game. We have to do it,
Yeah, we absolutely. And Dennis says he hopes the Lions win. He likes them to win anyway, but something. Magic says, is this the grandfather who was the world's best car salesman? No.
Well, this guy could sell anything. I'll tell you that.
This guy did sell some cars, but that wasn't his job. He also
some of them were stolen. Some of them weren't.
Correct. Magic, name any kind of anything he probably sold it once in his life. He was a furniture salesman. That was like what, his main title? He was like
he was a peddler.
If you watch Sanford and Son, that's
definitely. If you
was him.
That was his front yard.
Yes.
He would go down the road, and if there's a chair somebody threw out in a ditch, he'd pick it up, bring it home, redo it, and make $20 off of it.
Yes. Yeah.
What a guy.
Was he a furniture salesman like Tony Soprano was a garbage man? No. He had a furniture store. But he also had other things that he would peddle.
Anything. He would peddle anything.
Yeah.
And he'd make money at it.
Yeah. Yep. I think that'll be a funny story. That'll be everybody needs to tune in just for that.
Yeah, but you kind of have to know him, but it still was funny.
No, I mean we can describe him for sure. Like I said, he's Sanford and Son. That's so think of that guy. Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that a lot, and the special guest will be here as well. So there's a lot to look forward to on Wednesday as we get you ready for the Thanksgiving holiday. All right, guys, we're going to get off of here. Magic, I think we're supposed to have a staff meeting at 3, and I think Jared skipped it and I skipped it, so I don't know if that's happening. You let me know if it is. So, all right, guys, we're going to get off of here today. You would think the owner would know, but I don't. All right.
I would think of the same thing.
Yeah.
I think Magic's decided to skip it too.
I think Magic said the hell with it as well. Thank you. Mark says great show as always, and we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody coming on here. And like I said, if you missed us live, come back and you can always listen to the podcast version as well. The guy organizing the staff meetings. Okay, so Samich doesn't want to do it, which means we're not doing it. Okay, all right, guys, we're going to get off of here for today. We'll be right back here on Wednesday. Special guest and a story involving my grandfather. This should be crazy.
You won't want to miss it.
Yep, you won't want to miss it. All right, good luck to everybody betting Monday Night Football. We'll see you right back here on Wednesday. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father.